What if you could double the amount of people who take action on your website by simply changing a couple of words? That is exactly what happened to Partner Stack, a software platform who changing the words on one of their buttons from book a demo to get started increased the number of people who click on that button by 111%. Hi there, I'm Chris. I'm the founder and chief conversion copywriter at Conversion Alchemy. In this video, I'm going to give you the exact roadmap that I followed to learn copywriting from scratch, step by step. And we're not just looking at copywriting in general, we're going to look specifically at conversion copywriting. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you can check out this video here, where I go a bit deeper into what copywriting actually is and the different types of copywriting. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart because I'm a super learning nerd. And if there's one thing that stayed with me along these years, it's that it's not only important to know what to learn, but also in what sequence you need to learn every single skill, right? So here's the deal. Today, we're going to look at exactly all the different skills and sub-skills you need to learn to master conversion copywriting. And stick until the end, because I have 10 unconventional secret ways that you can follow to become a true master copywriter. So let's get started. First things first. Why you should learn conversion copywriting. More than anything, copywriting is a skill that scales. What do I mean by that? Copywriting in general, it's already a very profitable and useful skill, both in business and also personal life. When you know how to persuade someone with your words, that's when you win. And on top of that, with conversion copy, you are stacking on top of your persuasion skills, the skills of user experience design and conversion rate optimization, which are two of the most profitable and most rewarding skills that you can learn in today's online environment. Which leads me to the career opportunities that copywriting can provide you with. If you enjoy tech and spend a lot of time online, conversion copywriting is the career for you. You can either open an agency, go freelance, work at a software as a service company or e-commerce business. The ways that you can make money with conversion copywriting and make it a career if you enjoy it are limitless. Finally, there's the financial upside. What do I mean by that? When I started out, I tried going into blogging, content writing. I even hired a couple of people to write for me. But what I realized is, first, I don't really like to manage a lot of people. So I wanted something that stayed a bit leaner, a bit smaller, maybe even just by myself. And with conversion copy, what you quickly understand when you get started, and what a lot of people agree on in the industry, is that the closer you are to the point of sale, the higher the pay, right? That's why a lot of content writers, freelancers don't really make the big bucks. And that's because blogging, content writing is quite different from copywriting, especially conversion copywriting. With content and blogs, you are basically educating people who you might consider cold leads, people that land on a website. With conversion copy, you are actually trying to have people buy, to have people taking some kind of action that's typically tied to a purchase, right? And that's what I mean by the closer you are to the point of sale, the higher the pay. Because let's say, for example, you write sign up form, right, for a newsletter. At least you are quantifying the number of people that sign up. It's very tied to a measurable result. Let's say that you write a landing page where people can buy a product or sign up for a trial of a software. That's all very closely tied to an action and to a measurable result on or revenue. All right, so let's get into the roadmap that you can use to learn conversion copy. Let's start from the basics. I'm going to divide these resources into free material and paid material, obviously, right? So where free starts, we typically have books. Here's my recommended books to get started. One important thing to consider when you look at books to get started learning copywriting is how to divide the categories of books and what you can actually learn from each book. What I found when I started 8 years ago or something was that I realized that there are a couple categories that you can learn, and a good resource into each category is the way to go when it comes to learning the skill. So for me, the main categories are advertising, which is a type of copywriting. Then there's the actual business of building an agency, business of freelancing. So the business side, how you persuade clients, how you manage clients, how you sell your services, right? How you present your services. And then there's direct response, which is a big whole other area of copywriting. And finally, we have the creative side, right? So the creativity, how to get ideas, how to get creative, how to come up with unconventional ideas, and so on, right? So first, when it comes to advertising, my main resource and where I would start from is definitely the book Ogilvy on Advertising. Not only because of the way that it's written, but also and especially for how it's presented. It's a great visual, rich, almost coffee table book, but you can truly understand his thinking from the explanations that he gives in the book, but also see the actual results of that thinking from the pictures. It's got great visuals. So Ogilvy on Advertising, it's a big one to get started. For the business agency freelancing side of the equation, I would go again to my buddy David Ogilvy. It's truly the Bible when it comes to understanding your relationship with clients, how to present your services, how to build your agency brand, and how to stand out from the competition. When it comes to direct response, the best resource that I can recommend, it's the Adweek Copywriting Handbook, which is probably the best resource that I found when I was starting out to learn the basics of the psychology used in copy, the persuasion aspects, and it's also super clear, lots of examples, step by step. So the Adweek Copywriting Handbook. Finally, when it comes to creativity and idea generation, you cannot go wrong with the book Alchemy by Rory Sutherland, which is one of my idols. And in it, you truly understand how to come up with ideas and concepts that influence people, not through logic, but mostly through emotions and a combination of insightful idea and understanding how people think and how people behave. Now, if you don't have a lot of times to go through entire books, obviously online you can find pretty much anything. And a couple of resources that I always recommend people are first, Copy Hackers. It's a great resource to learn exactly what conversion copywriting is, how it works. You can get a lot of free articles, guides, tutorials from the pros in the industry. Another great one that's more tied to the user experience design aspect of conversion copy is the Nielsen Norman Group blog. In there, again, you can find a lot of studies. They actually run a lot of studies that you can follow, learn from, and it's probably not a very known resource, but I found that whenever I read one of their articles, I learn something new. It kind of unlocks a different skill that I can use in my copywriting journey. Another kind of almost top secret resource online that not a lot of people know or have used from what I see, it's the MacLabs Institute. I would say if you're up for a bit more of the philosophical aspect of conversion copywriting, conversion rate optimization in general, it's probably the best resource out there. They have a lot of frameworks, very practical frameworks that are actually based on a lot of tests and a lot of proof. So it's both great to get an insight into the more nuanced and philosophical aspect of conversion copy, but it's also very hard proof, hard fact based. Lastly, when it comes to strictly conversion rate optimization skills, I cannot recommend enough CXL, formerly Conversion Excel, which again is another blog full of resources, articles, super in-depth articles, highly researched articles, and lots of case studies of improving websites for conversion. So I'd recommend CXL. And if I had to urge you to do one thing on those websites, it's not just to consume the content, right? So what you could do that could actually boost the way that you learn is sign up to their newsletters, interact. Try to get to know those people, follow them on social media, see what they write about, what they learn as well. Reply to their emails, right? Interact, get engaged, get your name out there and have a chat. Next, we have the paid resources. Now, I'm including paid resources because at the end of the day, one thing that you'll realize in your learning journey is that unless you invest, which can mean investing time, but also investing money, it's very hard to commit to something, right? So you have to have some skin in the game. I've invested thousands and thousands of dollars in my experience, in my learning journey, and I would highly recommend that if you think a learning resource is right for you, it fits the way that you learn, it fits your mindset, your perspective, your view on what you want to achieve and do in your life, then it's totally fair to invest and truly commit to that. Now here I would recommend pretty much the same resources. So when we mention conversion copywriting, I would definitely check out the paid courses at Copy Hackers. When it comes to conversion rate optimization, go and check out CXL and their courses, which are all ran by pros in the industry. Two other resources that you might want to check out, especially to dig deeper into the user experience design side of things and direct response, are one, for user experience and user interaction, Learn UI or Learn UX Design by Eric Kennedy. Great courses, very practical, very hands-on, with lots of homework. They taught me how to use software like Figma to wireframe my copy, to how to design, how to think about design in a way that fits in with the copy that I write, so highly recommend it. The other one, when it comes to direct response, which is exactly where I started back in 2015, it's the AWAI, American Writers and Artists Institute. Especially if they still have their six-figure copywriting course, six-figure advanced copywriting course, I highly recommend you to start there because those are the basics of persuasive copywriting. So now that we talked about where to learn from paid courses, I want to talk about how to approach these paid courses so that you can save time and find exactly what works for you. What I look for in every paid course that I take, it's SPA. What do I mean by SPA? Short, practical, actionable. What I mean by short is I always ask myself, is the course short and fluff-free? What matters most? Is it direct to the point? With practical, I always look for whether or not the course has some kind of homework that I can take, right, to implement what I learn. And with actionable, I always ask myself, does the material lead to actual implementation in the real world? Meaning, does it lead you to actually build something or work on a project that then you are able to repurpose or use in the real world? So remember, SPA, short, practical and actionable. Now, a question that I get asked a lot of times is whether or not you need certifications. A lot of these paid courses especially offer certifications, but the problem is there are so many different certifications nowadays that how do you know who to trust? Or how do your potential client know who to trust, right? So if you ask me, certification are BS. And what I mean by that is that in today's marketplace, the only thing that you need to do is not go and get a certification. It's to actually learn the deepest skills that you need to learn, master them, actually do stuff in the real world, maybe start for free, implement stuff, build things, build a website, build a portfolio, show that you can actually do what you just learned, and then put it to work as social proof with clients, right? Show that your brand has been doing the damn thing. And here there's also kind of a meta lesson. When it comes to copywriting, we typically get to the edit stage and there's this so what, prove it stage, right? That's once you make a claim in your copy, then it's all about going deeper into the benefits for the customer, right? So, and that's where the so what part comes in. And then you also have to prove it, because otherwise, how is the customer going to trust you? It's the same when it comes to your services. A random certification is not gonna prove anything. A lot of potential clients nowadays know that you can get one of those just by pretending that you watched a 1-hour video on some random website, right? What matters most is just that you put the time in, put the effort in, build something, whether it's your own brand online, on social media, or on your website with a good portfolio, and then show it off. Now, we mentioned how it's important to put everything into practice, and I have 3 recommendations for you when it comes to actually putting your learning into practice. The first one, as I already mentioned, is creating a portfolio. And this does not necessarily mean that you need to actually work with clients to build a portfolio. What you can simply do is just pick a website or pick an email that you think that you would be able to improve and just work at it, right? Rewrite the email, rewrite a section of a homepage of a website, rewrite this about page, rewrite this landing page, or maybe redesign, sign up form and rewrite the copy. Show that you can also work on the user experience side of the equation, right? And put the results on your website. Just publish them or share them. There's this big trend now of people building in public. One big lesson that you can benefit from is know that there's always someone that's a couple of steps behind you, right? So whether you're working with clients or not, there's always something that you can do to help other people and show what you can do. So if it's writing a new homepage or rewriting an email that you think you might improve, there's always people who can benefit from that. So it's never work that's going to waste. The second tip for practical implementation of what you learn is to go on freelance gigs or freelance websites. One of my favorite is Upwork, which is where I started. I went from $15 an hour up to $100 an hour in, I think, 8-9 months. So that's pretty good. I think now it's a bit more competitive, but still it offers great opportunities for you to get started with some work. Another not so well-known opportunity out there, it's go and look for remote job websites. A lot of companies that are looking to hire remote talent might offer entry-level positions, and you might find your apprenticeship or internship there. So to get started and implement what you learn, I would highly recommend you check out those websites. The last thing when it comes to putting everything into practice, it's networking, right? So connect with peers, connect with people at a higher level than you. I admittedly is something that I didn't do much when I started out, and thinking about it now, it would have skyrocketed my growth tenfold, and it's actually what I'm working on now. But why not when you get started, right? Like, don't fear messing it up, don't fear not knowing enough, because remember, a lot of those people are still afraid of not knowing enough. Now I want to close with 10 unconventional top secret ways that you can use to actually learn conversion copywriting, and none of them come from the actual world of copywriting. So let's get started. The first one is go to comedy clubs. Comedy clubs are an invaluable resource and way, and also fun way, to actually learn a lot about how people behave, a lot about how people think. When you study how comedians work on timing, delivery, and also how they tell stories, you understand a lot about how people think, what people need to be moved emotionally, especially. So comedy clubs. Another big one that I typically find myself study like a nerd most of the times, it's look at online dating profiles and pay attention not only to obviously people on profiles, because you might be interested in people, but also pay attention to how they present themselves, right? Every single person on those dating profiles, it can be considered as a brand. So you can actually absorb a lot of information on branding, on copywriting. A lot of those dating profiles have prompts that you can read, and pay attention to what resonates with you, to how you judge these people, how you evaluate them, what comes up in your mind when you see their pictures. All of this contributes to giving you a good solid idea when it comes to actually writing your copy and laying out your copy in a wireframe or a design. Third, scroll through online comments. There's a lot of communities. You can check out comments on social media, like comments on YouTube, but also comments on tweets, comments on Reddit posts, all the communities where you can actually comment and provide feedback on. Those are gold mines for public opinion, understanding public opinion, understanding how people think, how people react, but also specific language that's tied to that community. And actually, these communities, especially Reddit, but also YouTube, Amazon, all the comments, reviews, are very good places and sources of information that we copywriters use to mine for language that we can mirror in our copy. Next, one way that you can truly understand what makes copy impactful and attention grabbing, it's understanding and analyzing how tweets work, especially viral tweets. So look for the tweets, Twitter obviously, or X, that have the highest amount of views, highest amount of comments, and truly study them. What's the hook that they are using to grab your attention, to suck your attention in? And it's also a really good exercise in understanding how short copy works, just because of the 280 character limit. So studying tweets, it's a very good way to understand what works when it comes to grabbing attention and make copy engaging. Fifth, super top secret point to learn copywriting, it's study lyrics of songs. One of my favorite genres to study lyrics. I don't know if I should be ashamed of it or not, just because I come from a punk rock background, but one of my favorite genres when it comes to studying lyrics is country music. Look at any country music song and you'll find a lot of specific language that only certain people would use, right? With the pickup truck, with the beer and the stuff, and the tailgate parties and all the stuff. Look at those lyrics, study them, and truly understand what creates the emotional connection that you feel with the song, especially if it's a song that you like. What is creating that connection for you? Sixth, study spam emails. A lot of times, to understand what works, you have to study what doesn't. And spam emails are a great way to see what typically doesn't work, right? You can study the subject lines. Are they spammy? Are they using emojis? Why did they end up in the spam folder? Ask yourself that. And also study the body copy of the email. Is it full of GIFs, or does it include a lot of links? Why did it end up there? And what can you do in your copy to avoid that? Seventh unconventional way to study copy is study children's books. If there's a great way to learn how to write simple, clear, compelling copy, it's to study from some of the simplest writing that you would ever see, right? So look at these books, look at how the combination of big images and super short copy works to create that storytelling, that emotion, that vibe, and see if you can apply to your copy. Another great way to study how copy works and what makes great copy work It's look at the impulse buys at checkout counters. So whenever you go at your local grocery store and you're about to pay, look your left and right. You'll probably see a lot of products that are typically put there specifically to tempt you to make that last impulse buying decision. Look at the packaging, look at the placement, and try to understand what's working inside your psyche right now to make you want to buy that stuff. Another good one, even though we don't see much of those lately, but I still think there's a lot of those that are really good to understand and study, both on TV but also on the radio, are infomercials. So what is it in the personality of the presenter or in the way that they create urgency, scarcity? What is it that works to truly grab your attention, especially when you're maybe in a rush in your own life? What's happening there that is working to grab your attention and convince you to buy? Final of these super top secret unconventional ways that you can learn copywriting with, it's study historical speeches. And I don't only mean speeches by copywriters, but speeches in general by leaders, right? Like Winston Churchill, Martin Luther King, presidents. Look for speeches that actually worked and moved masses of people and truly deconstruct them. See what works, see what they did, what kind of visuals, metaphors they used, see kind of the timing that they used as well, and in general how they built their own arguments. All those are persuasive arguments and stories, so look for those. Awesome. So to recap the copywriting learning roadmap, we mentioned how you can start from free resources, so read books that I recommended, look at websites, then invest some of your time and money. So look at paid courses that we mentioned, a lot of paid courses, paid resources. But finally, and most importantly, implement what you learn. If you don't put everything into action, that stuff is gonna enter one eye and come out of the other eye or somewhere else that I won't want to mention, right? But you get the gist. And speaking of free resources, I wanted to also give a shout out to myself. If you want to learn copywriting just with 5 minutes a week, I write a totally free weekly newsletter called Conversion Alchemy Journal that you can just sign up for on my website, and you will find the link in the comments below. That's a wrap. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, if you find it helpful, and if you have already ideas to take this stuff and start learning copywriting, like the video, subscribe if you still haven't, and keep in touch for more coming soon.